Welcome to Jackie's Craft Table. Hi everyone, welcome and thanks for joining me. Today I'm so excited to be part of Spellbinders blog hop. We're celebrating all of the fabulous May 2020 club kits. To celebrate this release, Spellbinders is giving away 3 $50 gift certificates selected from the comments on their blog. I will have the link to the Spellbinders blog below. You also have a chance to win a $25 gift certificate over at my blog. I will also have the link to my blog below, so make sure you head on over there and I'll be picking a random winner from the comments. You'll find more details there as well. Today I'm making 5 different card projects using Spellbinders card kit and their small die of the month. On my first project, I'm using some of the dies from their small die of the month kit. These are really fabulous dies to add lots of pretty details to your cards. The set is called Stacked Decorative Edges, and you get 8 dies in this set. I'm using one of the smaller scalloped dies to create a dainty edge on this white cardstock. All of the cardstock and patterned paper I'm using come from their card kit of the month. I already created a video using this kit, and I will link to that below. But I have a lot of supplies left over from that kit. I'm cutting out another decorative strip in this cardstock. These dies cut through the cardstock very cleanly, and the negative pieces pop out easily, as you see here. I'm going to cut this decorative die one more time on the other edge. It's going to be the same on each side of this panel. And once I've got all of the negative bits popped out, I'm going to do a bit of stamping. This Darling stamp set is in the card kit, but you can buy this separately. I'm stamping out this cute jar. I pulled out my mini MISTI so that I could stamp this up a few times just to get a nice dark and crisp line on this image. And I like the big size of this jar. It's just too cute. You can see my little pile of butterflies that I already stamped and used the coordinating dies on. So those are all ready to go in and around my little jar. But first I'm going to stamp out my sentiment. It's going to say, "Hello, lovely." I'll stamp that out a few times just to make sure it leaves a nice sticky impression on this pink cardstock. And then I can pull out my cardstock and pour over the white embossing powder. And it just really pops off of this pink cardstock. Now I can melt that. So I'm going to cut out my sentiment so that it looks like a little sticker on my jar. But first I'm going to add a few highlights. I'm just using 2 different Copic markers for this one. I'm putting the lighter one down first. And then I'm coming in with a darker one. It just wasn't dark enough. Most of this jar is going to be covered up with my sentiment and the butterflies. So I'm not worried about putting too much color down. I'm using the double-sided adhesive to attach this to my piece of blue cardstock. This adhesive came in the card kit, as well as all of the cardstocks and patterned paper that I'm going to be using in this video. I have tons left over. I love how you can see the blue through this panel. It's just so pretty. I'm using some foam adhesive to pop up my sentiment. And I'm just centering that on the little jar. I haven't colored in my butterflies yet, but I just wanted to put them in place first, and they are all going to be popped up too with some foam adhesive. The stamp set from the card kit for May was really fabulous because you get all of these different butterflies, as well as some pretty sentiments. I'm putting my last butterfly in place, and I'm going to pull out some more Copic markers to color these in. And I'm coloring them in very simply. This first one is going to be orange and yellow. I'm using flicking motions just to color these in quickly, and I'm not even taking the color all the way out to the edge. So there will be white tips on these butterflies. I have all of the colors that I used listed over at my blog if you're interested in knowing what I used. I try to show the caps too, but sometimes they're hard to see. There's so little. The rest of the butterflies I'm going to color in with pinks and blues, just to match the cardstock that I used. And as I mentioned before, I used the coordinating dies on the butterflies. They came in the card kit this time, and I just love it when they have coordinating dies. They've been doing that a lot lately, and it's so much fun. In the same stamp set, it came with two really adorable cat images. I'll be showing you one of those in my next card project. Spellbinders card kits are really fabulous because they come with everything that you could possibly need to create some beautiful cards. It comes with a huge pack of die-cut shapes, so you don't even have to do any coloring to create your cards if you don't want to. Lastly, I'm going to add some beautiful sparkle over my butterflies. I'm using a Spectrum Noir clear glitter pen to do this. The card just needed a touch of sparkle. And that completes my first card project. Here's a close-up of it. I always like to decorate the insides as well, and I used some of my leftover butterflies for that. This was a really fun stamp set to play with. On card number 2, I'm using the stacked decorative edge dies again. I really loved this lattice one, and I'm going to cut that out at the bottom of another white card panel, and I also used the thank you die. This thank you sentiment also came with a die to cut it out, and it also cuts out the cutest rectangular frame. So I'm going to color that in with a warm gray Copic marker. This is the same gray that I colored in my cat with, and I already pre-colored in my cat and fussy cut it out. I'm also going to use a bit of pattern paper from the card kit. I attached my white panel to it already, and now I'm going to attach this whole thing onto my white card base, just making sure it opens the correct way. My little cat I'm going to pop up with some foam tape, just to give him some dimension. Isn't he cute? Both the cats from the stamp set are just adorable. And I'm going to have him sitting just on top of the lattice work on this card. I didn't color in my butterfly yet, because I wasn't sure of the color scheme. That's very easy to do afterwards. I'm just going to put that above him as if he's reaching for it. I'm just going to use 2 of the same pink colors that I used on my first card to color in my little butterfly. These little butterflies are so adorable. They all have very different detail work on them. They're so small, they're just quick to color in. And I'm going to use a few of the fuchsia sequins that came in the card kit. And of course, more of the clear glitter pen. I'm even going to put it over the cat. So I wanted the cat to remain white, so I just put a little bit of warm gray shadowing along the edges of him. And I think he looks really cute on this white card base. And that's all there is to this card. Here's a close-up look. On the inside, I used a die-cut shape from the card kit. Very pretty flowers. I just love the die-cut shapes. I think card number 3 has to be my favorite. I love striped pattern paper, and that's what I'm going to be using for this card, as well as another stacked decorative edge. This one is a scalloped one, but it's a little bit bigger than the first one I used. Don't those 2 papers look darling together? I just love this navy striped paper. I'm going to cut it in half because I want to salvage as much of it as I can. And I'm just going to tape the striped paper to the bottom of my card base using more of the double-sided adhesive. I'm really loving this stuff lately. It lasts you a very long time. And I'm just using my craft pick to pull off the release paper. So I'll attach this down flat. And then my pink cardstock, I'm going to put some foam pieces behind that. But before I attach that, I'm going to stamp out my sentiment. This one says, "Oh, happy day," and I'm just stamping it on one of the white stripes so that you can see it really well. I'm going really slow because I'm not very good at stamping with an acrylic block. Guess I could pull it out my mini Misty, but I thought I'd just give this a shot. And it turns out straight. Okay, so I put some foam tape behind my pink panel. I really like the look of this lifted up from the striped paper. Next, I'm going to pull out a bunch of die-cut shapes. I had to use this darling little rainbow. And it's going to follow the slant of the pink cardstock. These are some 3D stickers from the card kit. And I thought these butterflies just looked darling across this rainbow. And there's even a little single butterfly, and I'm going to put that up at the top. The sentiment on the butterfly sticker says Happy Day. And now for a few more of the fuchsia sequins. I'm just going to glue these down across my card panel. I really like the look of them tucked behind things on the card. So this was my completed card until I remembered that there were cute little cloud die-cut shapes in the kit. And I had to use those, so I'm going to put some foam pieces behind them. And this just finishes off the card beautifully, I think. The bottom of these clouds are kind of flat, so I'm just going to follow the slant of the card again with these clouds. And they're different sizes, but I think that just looks charming. And they're different colors too. Here is my finished card. This was a very fast and easy card, and I really love how this one turned out. Here's a peek at the inside. This one is so much fun. You could use it for a lot of different occasions, or as just a hello card. On my next card, I'm using another stacked decorative edge. I just couldn't get enough of these. I had so much fun with them. I'm using the small scalloped one. I'm going to cut out both sides of this green cardstock with it. This is a very busy looking card because of the pattern paper, but I just love this pattern paper, so I had to use it. So this piece of green cardstock is going to help me spotlight some of the die-cut shapes that I'm going to be using. I cut down my pattern paper so that it's a little bit smaller than my card base. I really like having the white of the card base show through. It kind of mats my pattern paper. And now I have to make sure that it is the right side up. I almost put it on upside down. And then I can center this on my card base. The little teacups and water pitchers and bowls on this pattern paper are just adorable. There was even a die-cut shape that matched it, so I'm going to add that to the front of my card. But first I'm going to attach my green cardstock. I'll pull off the release tape, and then I can attach this over my pattern paper. It's not going to be perfectly centered on my card. I'm going to put it a little bit above center. I'm going to glue down more die-cut shapes, these cute pink leaves and the green ones down flat. Just putting little dabs of liquid glue behind them. This green piece of cardstock really helps to spotlight my images, or else they would totally get lost in the pattern paper. I'm just putting 2 on each side. And now to adhere my last green vine. It's not going to be symmetrical, but that's okay. I really love how it turned out. The next die-cut shape I'm using is the little pitcher that matches the pattern paper. I'm just going to glue that down flat as well. And now to make the main focal piece of this card, which is this sprig of flowers, stand out, I put some foam tape behind it. The sentiment is just going to be a teeny tiny one from the die-cut shapes. And it simply says loved. And I'm going to attach that right in the center of the sprig of flowers. And now for a few fuchsia sequins. These will add a cute pop of sparkle to this card. I'm just going to put 3 of those down. I'm tucking one under the flowers here. And then even one on the pattern paper. You get some metallic looking sequins as well as some more matte ones. My last die cut shape is going to be this little bird, at least on the outside. I used one more on the inside. Here's a close-up look. I like to use my leftover scraps of pattern paper on the insides of my cards so I don't waste it. On my last card, I'm going to use some beautiful gold metallic paper from the kit, as well as one of the stacked decorative dies. And I'm just cutting out a little edge. The pattern paper I'm using has some beautiful gold detailing on it, and it really matches well with my gold edge. I'll lay my gold piece down first, flat, with more of the double-sided adhesive. I'll pull off the release paper, and then I'm going to add this to the very edge of my card base, so some of the white of the card base will show through. Got to make sure I'm putting it on the right edge. And next, for the pattern paper. This pattern paper is really fun because it has words or text all over it. And it says things like love, butterfly, laugh, adventure, sunny, which is really cute. I cut down this pattern paper as well so that I could save some of it. I'm trying to put this down on my card base perfectly straight, which is a challenge for me. I'm just lining up the corners and then I press the rest into place. I haven't used any of these dimensional butterfly stickers from the card kit yet, so these are going to be the star of my card. I'm cutting around the acetate because I don't want to take them off their backing yet. I want to position them on the front of my card first. And these are really cute when you fluff up the wings so they look really dimensional. I chose 3 of these butterflies to use. The biggest one is going to be at the bottom of the card. Once I put that on there straight, I can press it into place really hard. I'm going to try to leave enough room between these butterflies so I can put my sentiments there. Then the smallest one is going up at the top. The sentiments are die-cut shapes. They say, "Enjoy today," and I thought these just fit perfectly between these butterflies. I really like the look of this. And that's it for this card. I didn't even add any sequins because the gold metallic paper was sparkly enough, and there is sparkle already on the butterflies. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoy this blog hop today and keep on hopping. Make sure to leave comments on the blogs. The more comments you leave, the better chance you have of winning. Take care and have a wonderful day. Bye, everyone.